What's up, everybody? I'm Metal Nick.
I'm Jeff Grindstoffer. That's Metal Nick right there. I'm Jeff Grindstoffer right here.
Welcome to episode number 69 of Vinyl Bang. I like these sweet ass decks we got here. Look at that. There you go.
There you go. Yeah, my awesome co-host over here, a couple of like a month ago, kept telling me that he got me a surprise. He got me a surprise, and that he said he only had 2 of these things made, whatever the surprise was. He would not tell me what it was. And one day I come home from work and there's a box on my table, and my wife is glaring at me like I got this huge fucking box sitting on my table. I'm like, I have no idea what this is. I know I tell you this every now and then just to try to keep myself out of trouble, but I seriously have no idea what this is. Nick would not tell me what this is. And look what Nick had made. Look at these, man. These are awesome. Awesome skateboards with the logo, of course, and man, the detail on this thing is just incredible. Whoever did this is just, I don't even know the company that did these. Nick has even kept that a secret from me, but yeah, the detail on these is just amazing. Of course, it's got our logo and the intro, the South Park inspired intro that I made, and the pictures from the first 3 episodes of Vinyl Bang, and the detail again, man, is just like you were saying. You were worried they were going to be pixelated.
I was.
It's clear as hell. I mean, incredible detail.
Pretty nice shit. I know. It was they weren't that expensive, but I was like, holy crap, let me take advantage of this while I can, because yeah. But yeah, I'm glad you liked it. I know, Jeff, you got a collection of decks laying around the house. There's a pretty hilarious cattle decapitation one that you have that I enjoy looking at every now and then. But these are personal. These are for you and me. These are, I always like this little thing that you did, and the first 3 episodes pictures are great. But yeah, cheers, bud. This has been a fun journey, and
Yes.
yeah, as I was saying, we are on episode number 69, and today's topic's viewer's choice number 11. Thanks to our good pal, Mr. James Watson, we are doing a Tombstone themed episode. Even though I hate to say this, I've only seen that movie once, and I wasn't that big a fan of it, but I do like the cast. There's awesome people. Kurt Russell fucking rules. Rest in peace, Val Kilmer. We'll talk a little bit more about Val Kilmer later in the show, I believe. But
yes.
Yeah, I just, we got a lot from Cha lately, and I was kind of pulling at Jeff that we can do a mix, and then he's like, well, we got enough from this one list, and actually we did, because we spent quite a while trying to search for what was it. If you know, in the comments, please put it for us. If you know an album that's got a coffin on the cover that isn't the band Coffins, because I have about 2 albums. Jeff has 0, but this was a tough thing. We were both looking through our Discogs yesterday trying to find this, and this was one of the topics, but we didn't roll with it, obviously, because one of us didn't have that. Wow. But
yeah, you figure with all these records behind me that I would have one album cover with a fucking coffin on it. And it's just like, I mean, I figured that like Opeth or Misery Index, Rituals of Power or something would have a coffin on it. And all you metal bands, dude, what are you doing? Like, really? No coffins at all? I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, am I the poser? Am I the poser, or are the metal bands the posers? Who's the real loser here? Huh?
I don't know. Like I said, I have 3. I had 3 in my collection, so there was one we had to skip. There's a couple of them that were tough, because like some of these are obvious answers, and I just didn't want to pick some of these. But
Right.
I'm happy with the ones we chose. Shout out once again, Mr. James Watson of See You Next Tuesday. James is a good pal of ours, and a loyal listener and follower of our show. And for many years, me and him have been internet friends because of vinyl. And then we finally met him a couple months ago with the Pig Destroyer Red Chord See You Next Tuesday tour. But James, cheers, buddy. This was some tough shit. We even got James involved in some of this because we were getting a little irritated yesterday not being able to find these coffins. But James had a couple for us, and Jeff didn't own any of these. So, but let's not waste any time. We are like what? I did hit record, right? All right. We're deep into this episode. We haven't started a topic yet. It's almost like we have a guest here today. First topic, and then again, these are all themed from the movie Tombstone. So I'm going to read the quotes that James threw along. You're a daisy if you do. Album with flowers in the artwork.
Yeah, like Nick said, I've seen Tombstone, but I'm not a huge fan. But I like these topics, so we're gonna run with it. And as soon as we came up with this first topic, the flower topic, I was like, I get to talk about another Mike Patton album. I'm so excited I get to talk about this because I was never sure how this album was going to come up into the show. But I am referring to, and I have to refer to Wikipedia because I know I'm going to screw this guy's name up. This album is called Corpse Flower. This is a collaborative album between Mike Patton and French composer Jean-Claude Vannier, Vannier. I know even sitting here reading it, I knew I was going to get it wrong. But this is a really, really cool little album. I mean, I'm not very well versed in it. I've heard it a couple of times, even before I had the vinyl. Listened to it on Spotify just because, huge Mike Patton enthusiast. I have to hear everything that he's done. But, get the cover off of it, get the sleeve or the jacket off of this, and get the foil, even the back is a cover. This is a really, really cool album. I mean, it's got Patton doing like, okay, first off, the pressing is like a black smoke and a clear thing. I believe this is the only pressing they did of this album. I wasn't crazy enough about this to buy every pressing if there was multiples. It's a cool album. I mean, it's like I said, it's done by a French composer, and Patton basically sings this Jean-Claude guy's. It sings his songs. It's you have to be in a mood, I believe, to really listen to this. It's almost like because Patton's Mondo Cane, that is Patton singing in Italian in front of an orchestra, which is a completely different monster in itself. But this is it's like there's a couple of songs where he's like doing like a spoken word thing, and then there's the songs where Patton sings in his beautiful melodic voice. Yeah, I mean it's a cool album. I'm not over the top crazy about it, but yeah, as soon as I knew we were doing a flower topic, I was like, yes, I get to talk about Corpse Flower. So there you go, another Mike Patton album for the show. So.
Yeah, you could have found some way sooner or later to talk about that, I'm sure. But
I'm sure. Yeah.
you always find a way, Jeff.
Life finds a way, even though it's a different album.
For me, I instantly thought about the band Baroness because I believe that there's flowers. When I think about usually the Red Album, there's flowers in it, but I didn't want to be so. I think I've talked about that album quite a few times on our show, and then I wanted to talk about something else. I actually did talk about this a couple weeks ago, but it was just because I recently had purchased this. But I'm going to talk in depth a little bit about Nirvana Incesticide. This came out in the year 1992, so this was a year after Nevermind had dropped. But what this is this is a collection of 7 inches and splits that Nirvana had put out over the years, and they put it on a CD and just released it to the public for all those people who just didn't know who they were before Nevermind, before Bleach. There's a couple cover songs, I believe. Turnaround, Molly's Lips, Son of a Gun are all cover songs. I don't know what band that is. Maybe the Wipers, or I don't know. The song Sliver is on here. Dive is a really cool song. Stain. I personally really like the song Aneurysm. I believe you and I were talking about this yesterday. There's a couple different recordings of that song, and the version that is on this album is my personal favorite recording of that song. It's a really cool song. Yeah. When I was a kid, I was like madly obsessed with Nirvana. I remember getting this CD and just being kind of blown away at like what it was, and it goes to show that even before their fame, they've written some cool songs, and maybe not to the whole world, but like I certainly enjoyed a lot of this stuff. Even the stuff that was on Bleach, I thought was really cool. I know when they blew up and they were way more commercial, mainstream or whatnot, people took a liking to that stuff a little bit more. I thought this stuff was great. Little rubber ducky on the back. I love this picture of like all the ex members, like Dale Crover's in there, Chad Channing, Dave Grohl, everybody, and then this picture of Kurt in the crowd. This was like, I think like when you open up the booklet, you saw that. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's a rose on the cover. That's why I'm choosing this one. Yeah, Nirvana, Incesticide. What a fucking collection of B-sides and whatnot. And for those
Absolutely.
people that were around, or a fan or whatnot back in the day when Nirvana was a thing, like I'm sure this record meant a lot to a lot of people, because it was interesting stuff. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and
Oh, dude, I love Incesticide. It's just Aero Zeppelin, Beeswax, and just fucking dude, all of it is just such a good collection of songs for sure. Actually, I need to get a second copy of that because I have one that's on display right up here, right above me, and it's the only copy I have, and it's like I put it on display because of the artwork, and I never listened to it because it's all it's all the way up on my wall. So I needed another copy to listen to. But yeah, phenomenal collection of songs for sure.
absolutely, absolutely. All right, moving on. Play for Blood. That was it was right. Play or Pray for Blood. Play for Blood is what we're gonna go with. Favorite blood splatter vinyl. This was another one that was so difficult for Jeff to choose.
It wasn't really difficult. It was just like, whenever I was at work and I saw these topics, I was like, dude, I have so many that are blood splattered. And like whenever I got home and I started looking through my Discogs and trying to find something that was blood splatter, it was all red splatter. It wasn't technically blood. I mean, it was just like, what the fuck? How is this a thing? Like, how are these not labeled as blood splatters? And Nick and I went back and forth, like, well, the red could be blood, and it's a red splatter, and it symbolizes blood, and whatever. I mean, there was a couple that were blood splattered, but it was just like, really? So I'm kind of grasping at straws here. I don't know. I can't remember what Nick picked. He probably did a better job than me because he always does. But I went with Pig Destroyer's Terrifier, which is labeled as a black with, I know you can't read it, a black smoke with splatter edition, limited to 1,500 copies. But I think Discogs had this listed as blood splatter, and it's just a cool looking pressing to begin with. So I wanted to show this off, if nothing else, and I mean that's blood splatter enough for me, just because Terrifier, blood, and this will come into play later on in the episode. Towards the end of the episode, we're going to talk about this album again. But what really can be said about Pig Destroyer? I mean, that we haven't already said on this show. I mean, now it's MC17. Just go ahead and get this out of the way. Great band, great friends of ours. Again, shout out to Scott Hull for writing a song specifically for this podcast that Nick and I co-created with J.R. Hayes of the vocalist for Pig Destroyer. But yeah, this is my choice for the blood splatter topic. Pig Destroyer, Terrifier.
All hail Pig Destroyer. We worship Pig Destroyer.
Yes, great friends.
Not be on our fucking show, Scott Hall. He's gonna hate me one day. He's gonna be like, "What the fuck? They're so mean to me on that show." All right. So before I even show you mine, I'm just gonna throw the label up there so you can see. Clear with blood red splatter. Boom. It was like a
There you
no.
go.
I mean, I know I have like a cannibal corpse, but I'm gonna go with my homie's dying fetus. Reign Supreme is the name of this record. Excuse me. This is my favorite one that my buddy Trey is on. Shout out to Mr. Trey Williams. One of the sickest fucking Maryland drummers. This dude, when this record came out, it had it had that old school dying fetus vibe that I think a lot of people fell in love with this band with, and the story behind it really is John Gallagher, I guess, was sobered up at the time. I guess he had a DUI, and so he wrote this album sober, and it turned out incredible. And very very happy with this. I mean, they got a lot more fans to jump aboard and just have more faith in them. I don't know if people were losing faith in this band or not, but they like kept switching members for a while. But this was a cool one. They always stayed solid to me. I love this record a lot. Invert the Idols, Subjected to a Beating, Second Skin, From Womb to Waist, Descendants, In the Trenches. That's a fucking awesome one. Devout Atrocity, Revisionist Past, The Blood of Power, and what does that say? Dead Horses Love. Dead Whores Love to Fuck. That's right. That song. That's on here. Blood Splatter. How about that?
So yeah, that is very, very, very blood splattery. Now that's a good pick for sure. Don't do that.
Being Jeff Grindstopper, don't you do that a couple times here? Yeah, this is a very cool record. I think a couple years ago, Relapse had re-released the Relapse collection of Dying Fetus albums on Clear with Blood Splatter, and I believe when you and I were in Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
we were at Buckets of Blood vinyl. I came across a copy of Stop at Nothing on Clear with Blood Splatter vinyl, and yeah, so I have almost all their albums on. No, just a couple of them. I know I rebought like Destroy the Opposition when they repressed that.
Mm-hmm. I think the latest one that I got was Destroy the Opposition on a pool of blood. It wasn't a blood splatter. It was like a pool of blood. Because I thought about doing that too, but I came home and I looked and I was like, it's not blood splatter. It's
Sometimes, Jeff, you have to play so hard by the rules, and other times you're like, "Fuck it, I'm going to do this." I don't get you. I don't get you.
I don't either.
Moving on. Ooh, this one. This was a controversial topic because we were being insulting with this topic at points.
Yeah.
Not me, and I'm in my prime. Favorite record by a band in their high point, and I believe this means when a band was in their prime, and we were a little about that, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, we don't even want to go into the discussion that we had about, well, let's do this band, and then it was like, wait a minute, does that mean everything after that was no good? Like,
There was no
I don't
we.
know.
There was you.
That's the second
Throwing
time you've thrown me under the fucking bus. You do it
yeah.
again, and this entire episode is going to be all me. I'm going to mute you throughout the entire thing, and it's all just going to be the Grindstopper show.
Okay.
Anyway, for the in my prime topic, I figured I would go with the band that is no longer a band, so they can't really be offended if anything happens. I am going to go with the Dillinger Escape Plan Miss Machine. A lot of fucking album. It was, of course, Pucciato's debut with Dillinger, and damn, I mean, dude, okay, Fireworks and everything, almost everything after that was good, but banger after banger on this album. It's just beginning to end untouchable, in my opinion. And they can't get mad at us. They can't not do the show because Dillinger's not a band anymore. But this is the 25th anniversary silver pressing that Relapse did back in what was this, like 5 years ago? I forget when the 25th anniversary was.
I have no
90,
idea.
established in 90, so it would have been 2015. It would have been 10 years ago that they did this. But yeah, Dillinger, Escape Plan, Miss Machine, and of course all the albums that I picked. None of the track lists are, or no, this does have track lists on the back. Panasonic Youth, Sunshine the Werewolf, Highway Robbery, Van Damsel, We Are the Storm, Crutchfield, Setting Fire to Sleeping Giants. What an album, dude! Miss Machine.
My only beef, you said, is a banger from start to finish, and there's a filler track in there.
But even still, it fits with the album.
I don't know if it's Crutchfield Tongs or Van Damsel. I can't remember what song it is, but it's like the sounds like the gears turning and shit. And I hate that part. I'm like, oh come on. Chris Penny told me and these two other guys no filler tracks, and then we went. They went home and listened to it the night before I got to listen to it, and then we showed up at the show the next day. And my friend Brian's like, "You're a fucking liar." He told him that to his face. There's a fucking filler track, but anyways. Great fucking album. I don't know if that was their high point, but I think that was a cool album. I saw them tour that album a whole lot. That was the last album Chris Penny was on, and he was a very, very generous person to me and my friends, especially to my friends. But anytime I was around, he hooked me up with a lot of cool shit. It was really nice to me, and yeah, I love Miss Machine. The Perfect Design is the name of the song. The last track. It's one of the best Dillinger Escape Plan songs, in my opinion.
Agreed.
It's just incredible. We'll probably do an episode about Dillinger someday because they are an incredible band with an amazing discography. And all right, so like me, like Jeff, I chose a band that is no longer a band, and I think even when I told Jeff this is the album I'm going to choose because this is one of my favorite bands, and unfortunately I've talked about this album quite a bit, and I try not to do that, repeat myself so much on the show, but Beastie Boys. Hello Nasty. This was probably when they peaked, if I had to assume. I don't know too many people followed them after this album came out when To the Five Boroughs dropped, or even when Hot Sauce Committee Part 2. But this was an incredible record. This came out in 1998. I was just about to become a senior in high school. Let's go over this track real quick. Super Disco Break and The Move. I love that song, The Move. That's a great fucking track. Remote Control, Song for the Man, Just to Test, Body Moving, Intergalactic, probably their most famous track. Sneaking Out the Hospital, Putting Shame in Your Game, Flow and Prose. That's a really cool one with just MCA on it, rapping by himself. Really cool track. And Me, 3 MCs and 1 DJ. Great fucking song and an amazing music video. The Grasshopper Unit, Keep Moving. Song for Junior, I Don't Know. The Negotiation Limerick File. That's a really cool track. I love that one. Electrifile, really cool track. Picture This. Unite. Unite's a really cool track too. Dedication. Awesome track with awesome song with It's just Mike D shouting out a bunch of locations throughout the world. At one point, he shouts out Newcastle, where Venom come from. Yes, the black metal band Venom. Dr. Lee, PhD, and Instant Death. I have the original pressing on double orange, yellow, whatever this is, from 1998 when this album dropped. I'm putting this in the wrong sleeve here. I did want to show you something else cool, a little piece of memorabilia that I got here. This is a working pass for Beastie Boys. I believe this is in Philadelphia, August 20th of '99 during the Hello Nasty tour. Yeah, it's a cool piece of stuff. Memorabilia, concert memorabilia that I came across there. Like I said, I've never seen the Beastie Boys live, but I scored that in some group on Facebook a while back. It'd be nice to throw in one of these records. One day when I'm gone, somebody's going to go get this record and be like, holy shit. But yeah. Beastie Boys. Hello Nasty.
Yeah, Hello Nasty, dude. Phenomenal album. Yes, it is.
Yes, I remember driving around to Philadelphia with you a couple years ago, listening to that album, and you were just like, God, this is such a good record. And I was like, it really fucking is. Like, it brought me back to when it came out and how fucking awesome it was, how different it sounded than the album before it. Ill Communication, which had Sabotage, which was a big record, and then people probably thought they peaked it then, but no. When Intergalactic dropped, I felt like, wow, like they got a fucking incredible DJ in their band now, and they sounded so fucking amazing. Like that was I hate to say it. I don't like saying that bands peak, but they certainly did peak on that album. And
Yep.
yeah, even though I liked To the Five Boroughs, the album after that was really cool, and Hot Sauce Committee Part Two, really cool
Mhm.
shit. But
Dude, what one of my favorite Beastie Boys tracks is "Putting Shame in Your Game." It's
it's
just
great. So that
fucking.
fucking that beat, the little bars that Money Mark plays.
Mm-hmm. Everything. It just phenomenal album for
Hmm.
sure.
Absolutely. All right. It's true. You're a good woman. Then again, you might be the Antichrist. Favorite album with a female fronted vocalist.
Yeah, this took like almost no thought at all. I mean, right there. Fuck the facts. Discords Mexico.
Hmm.
Almost like this album is like a grindcore rite of passage. Like, if you listen to grindcore, you have to listen to Discords Mexico just because it is creme de la creme of grindcore, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, it's a phenomenal album, and Mel is an incredible vocalist, incredible live band. Shout out to Fuck the Fact, shout out to Topin and Mel and Bill and all of them. They're just amazing band. This is, I believe, an original press
It's only been pressed once.
from 2008. Oh, they did a black pressing too, but I don't remember
I
when the
think it
black
was the
pressing came
same.
out. They did the
Yeah.
standard black. But anyway,
Put out by Stillborn Records.
yeah, just
That's Jamie Joss's label.
yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Ooh, and it had to have been courtesy of Relapse because Relapse
They
is
put out the CD. Yeah.
it's on
Relapse put
there.
out the CD, but yeah.
Yeah,
They did.
license from Relapse Records, put out
Mhm.
by Stillborn. Yep. Um, yeah, just phenomenal album. I'm glad I'm able to. I haven't talked about fuck the facts in a while, so glad I got to do that too. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I immediately thought about them too because Mel and Fuck the Facts are just good friends of the show, and that I would have probably picked that same album. That's easily my favorite record by them. The one after it, Die Miserable or Die Miserables, whatever they called it. They're probably gonna be they're
the
gonna be so
miserable,
angry at me for
miserable.
that, but no, I enjoyed that one a lot too. Their last one on Relapse was really fucking cool. Even the stuff that they put out afterwards, they're still a great band. Shout out to all of them. I fucking
Of
love
course,
Vil. He's one of the fastest, sickest drummers I've ever seen, and great guy, and just awesome people. And yeah, Mel, just her vocals are just awesome, so fucking great. And I had quite a few options to choose from here, but I was going to go with one that same as Jeff, somebody that I know, and I'm friends with Miss Cheney Crab of the band Entheos. Uh, this album is called Dark Future. Uh, Entheos is a band consisting of Naveen Koropoulos, who played drums for a band called Animosity, and I also believe he also played on the second Animals as Leader album, Weightless. Did I say his last name correct, Jeff?
Naveen. God damn it,
Korop-
I
Koropoulos.
know it.
If I'm saying it wrong, but everybody should know him. Anyways, also on this in this band was our good friend Evan Brewer on bass. Um, This basically originally consisted of a bunch of members of the band Animosity. The guitarist Frank was in there for a while. This is like a dark purple with like blue smoke in it somehow. Like it's the light's really awful right now in my basement, and yeah. But this was a great record. This was their first full length. This band is fucking great. Cheney's an awesome person. She's always been really nice to me and a great friend over the years. And I remember when I first saw them in maybe like 2015 and filmed them and put they told me I was the first person to post a full set of them online. So uh, I know she was on
Nice.
that Kai I don't know his last name. He was a famous streamer. She was on his show not too long ago, and I hope that kind of like put Entheos into a bigger realm. And a lot of people discovered them after that because she is awesome. This band is awesome. It's like I don't want to say deathcore with like electronics to it, but Cheney's just got a really cool voice, and her boyfriend, her husband Naveen, is just an amazing drummer. They've had multiple guitarists over the years that I've seen them. I know Evan still plays bass on the albums, just doesn't tour with them. Or at least 2 years ago when I saw them live, he wasn't there. But yeah, this is going to be my pick. I knew, like I said, I had quite a few albums with women vocalists. But I had to go with Entheos. I don't think I've ever talked about them on our show. Hopefully, we get some of them on our show. I know they're friendly with us, and that'd be a fun one.
I've never met Cheney. I've interacted with Naveen a couple of times, and his last name is Kopelweiss.
Yeah, I was somewhere in the realm there. I'm sorry, Naveen. You know me, buddy. Come on.
That's how it goes. Camera shy. Dude, the camera changes everything.
No, he's like I said, I've known him since the Animosity days, and just I remember the first time seeing him with Animals as Leaders. I went up and he was in this band called Jesus Christ, like Flesh Rot, maybe. It was like him and the singer from Job for a Cowboy. He did all the instruments and Johnny David. And I was like, dude, you have to put that out on vinyl. And he was just like, whew. He like sat there and he's like, no one's talked to me about that yet. And I was like punishing him with questions. I was like, I don't give a fuck about Animals as Leaders. Let's talk about this thing. I think it was Flesh Rot,
Right.
maybe.
Man, that sounds right. Something Flesh. I can see the album cover. I know exactly what you're talking about. But
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
think.
It was.
God,
Yeah, Naveen is a great musician, really talented musician, and
sure.
everything he does, I feel like is really good. And you know, yeah, I'd love to have somebody like him on our show. I hope he collects records. That'd be a cool way to have him. We have another couples on our show. That'd be great, both him and Cheney. But yeah, we're just sitting here pipe dreaming in the middle of the show, wasting people's time. Let's move on here. All right, Lunger, or is it Lunger? I don't know. Let's do it. Most intense vocal delivery.
Immediately. I mean, as soon as I thought of this topic, I thought I have to talk about Pfister's Gemini, because I mean, it just I don't know what it is about this over the other ones, but Kenny and Marcus on this album are just, it's like they're pissed, legitimately pissed off. The beginning track, Antitheist, it's just evil, just so fucking mean and just grueling and hateful, and just, I love it. Absolutely love this album. I own every pressing on vinyl, including the test press, which whenever I scored a test press, I posted a picture online, and I believe I think Kirk, I don't know if everybody in the band has a copy, but Kirk was like, holy shit, you have a test press and I don't have one. Sorry, buddy. But Antitheist, Suicide, Hassan, 3, the title track, Gemini, Sinking, Estonia, Permanent Chemical, Psychosis, and Invisible Corpse. When Kenny was on the show, or whenever we were talking about getting Kenny on, or after the episode, I had told suggested this album to you, Nick, because if you've never heard Pfister, this is the one to start with. Because my God, it is so good. So good. And this is an ox blood to kind of go with the Western theme. It's an ox blood covered, or an ox blood colored vinyl. So
ox pink.
Ox, shut up. It did look kind of pink, didn't it? A little more purple. It's the lighting in my room. It's the lighting in my basement.
It always is pink, but
yeah.
Which is funny because I almost chose the pink pressing of the one that I'm going to go with here. Immediately when I think about intense vocals, I think about this fucking album. I even listened to it on my way home from work today. Nails, Unsilent Death. What a fucking ripper! I remember the first time hearing this band. I believe Jason Netherton played it for me, and I just was like, "What is this?" This band's incredible. I saw them later that year at Maryland Death Fest. This album came out 2010. Saw them, I think it was 2011 Death Fest. They played, and then I never saw them again for many years. And I think we saw them in Philly with like Misery Index, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd see them a bunch of times since then. I met Todd Jones a few times. Our buddy Leon was in this band. This album is a fucking banger. The title track, on Silent Death. I mean, goddamn, like these lyrics, these vocals, this shit's ridiculous. I remember back in like I want to say 2003, maybe 2002, I saw the hardcore band Terror for their first time ever in Washington D.C. And Todd Jones was playing guitar for them at that time, and I talked to him a little bit, not knowing who he was. I mean, it's not like I would have known years later he was going to form this band, but this is a great album. This is an intense album. I was going to grab the pink pressing, but this one pulled out. I don't know which color. Oh, it's clear. Friends and family only. Not really. I think I bought this off of like Southern Lord, and it took them like 8 years to send it to me. But
Yeah, I do remember that.
yeah, I remember being pissed about that. I like this album a lot. This is one cool fucking record. I got a lot of people into this album. Nails Unsilent Death. Probably one of the most brutal fucking records of the early 2010s. I mean, like I actually listened to this album and then half of Abandon All Life when I was on my way home because this album's fast. It goes through quickly. But yeah, when I think about intense vocals, I absolutely think about this band, this
Oh,
album.
dude, on Silent Death is pissed. Yeah, great record.
All right, getting down to the nitty gritty here. Number 6, well, by best final album.
Yeah, we had done this topic. I forget what episode it was where we talked about a great closing album for a band. They're great final album, and I had to pick another one just because the Phantom Us was absolutely worth talking about. But Cerebral Bore, their only album, only their first, last, be all, end all. Maniacal Miscreation, dude. This album does not get anywhere near the attention it deserves. It almost serves as like a soundtrack for Train Spotting because there's like 2 or 3 different songs in here that have sound clips from the movie Train Spotting. Great movie. But this album it's one of those whenever I can't think of anything else to listen to and I can't, I'm not in the mood for anything else, I will put this album on just because it's so good. They did 4 different pressings and I just randomly grabbed one. This is a white splatter on a clear vinyl. Yeah, I don't know what the whole thought process behind that was, but or for picking this particular pressing, but yeah, I just this album is incredible. Not around anymore. With such tracks as Epileptic Strobe Entrapment, The Bald Cadaver, Open Casket, Priapism, Entombed in Butchered Bodies, Maniacal Miscreation, 24-Year Party Dungeon.
Yep. Okay, cool. I'm glad you brought that. Do you know what that song is about?
I've heard stories, but I don't remember.
So back in like the early 2000s, I want to say it was, there was this story that came out about this man. I think he was in Germany or he was in Belgium, but he basically had this like he had a daughter and he hid her from like the public, and he basically had like a hidden like rooms in his house where he like kept this daughter and like basically impregnated her and made her raise a bunch of his children. And at some point he got caught, busted, and like that song is about her. I guess that she was 24 years of age, and then that when she got rescued, and that's why they call it the 24-year dungeon party. So they made shirts with his face on his mugshot on the front and that title on the back. My buddy Mark did a tour with him in Europe, and I remember him coming home with that shirt, and I was like, "What the fuck, dude?" Like that's. But that band was great. I remember they had a female vocalist for a while, and then I think something happened, and she just dropped out of the band, and I don't think we're much after that. A band after that, I don't know, but
No, they did a tour with Malignancy and Fetus. I
yep.
saw them a couple of times home on Summer Slaughter, and then on that tour, shout out to Paul McGuire, dude. Paul fucking rules.
Yep,
Paul's an
absolutely.
awesome guy. Does the video work, obscene, can't think of what it's called. But yeah, Paul rules. Alan McDonald, drummer, rules. Great guys, great band.
All right. My pick for band for last album. Uh, I think the last time we did this, I picked Pantera, and I almost went with that again because I love reinventing the steel. But no, I'm going to go with a band that I sometimes talk about on the show, and I want to talk about more. Black Breath. This is one of my favorite, most underrated bands of all time. Get the glare out of there. This is their final album, Slaves Beyond Death. Came out in the year 2015 on Southern Lord Records. Southern Lord puts out some good stuff. Um, this record was incredible to me. This is the gold pressing. Uh, they had this, and then there was a black vinyl, and then when the box set came out, I can't remember what color it was, but those are the only two pressings I have of this. Pleasure, Pain, Disease, Slaves Beyond Death, Reaping Flesh, Seed of Cain, Arc of Violence, which is my favorite track on this album. This when the song really kicks in, there's this fucking great, amazing fucking riff, and it just if you know what song I'm talking about, Arc of Violence, if you know that riff I'm talking about, you got to agree with me there. It's great. A Place of Insane Cruelty, Burning Hate, and Chains of the Afterlife, which is kind of like a slower, like instrumental track, and it's the last track they ever recorded, and kind of a swan song almost. It was sad. A couple years ago, in December of 2019, their bassist Eli passed away of a heart attack, and I guess they just decided to not continue without him, respectfully, and that sucks. I understand. Eli was a great person. He was very nice to me. Him and the singer Neil were always really cool to me. But I love this band a lot. I wish I could talk about them more on the show. They only had 3 albums and an EP, but this is an incredible final album for a band. Even his vocals are a little more death metal-y than they were before. If you listen to their previous 2 albums, it changed a little bit. But yeah, I remember seeing them in DC and saying something to him before the album came out, and he was just like, "Oh, you noticed that?" I do. I pay attention. Uh, I can't say enough great things about Black Breath. They're based out of Seattle. This is, I guess, the second Seattle band we've talked about on our show. But what a city! I hope to go there someday. Yeah, Black Breath, Slaves Beyond Death. What an awesome final album by a band.
Hell yeah.
Dropping stuff. Yeah, like I said, that final. I'm like listening, hearing that final track in my head right now. The do. It's a slower track. I mean, it gets a little heavier at times, but it's just it's sad that that's the last song that they played because it's like I said, it looks like a swan song for them almost.
Yeah.
All right, last one. Hell's Coming With Me. An album that would be about your soundtrack to the apocalypse. I think we both had the same album in mind, but we were like, we're not going to do this one because it's cheap. And Jeff really has a pick.
Yeah. I mean, it crossed my mind, but we don't really want to talk about cattle decapitation any more than we have to. So,
Who? I don't know what you're talking about.
we don't take kindly to your tops around, So, yeah, my almost immediate pick is an album that whenever I listen to, it's a very bleak album to me. It's a very dark, very like it's a perfect album for winter as far as I'm concerned, just because it's just the mood of it is cephalic carnage anomalies, and by God, I do not talk about this band enough at all. I know I wear the shirts and the hats and the whatever. We talk about we name drop Dr. Goldberg every now and then and all this and that, but this fucking band does not get enough attention on this show. And so I decided to go with Anomalies for my soundtrack for the apocalypse. This particular pressing of Anomalies is limited to 100. It's available to the public, and it's not as hard to get as the clears. But this is the extremely rare limited copy of or the extremely limited pressing. It is a blue, black, and white marble, which almost exactly fits the color scheme of the artwork. And this is a prized possession, aside from the clear copy that I have over at that shelf. Yeah, this is my prized possession copy of an album. This album, it just Scientific Remote Viewing, which has features guest vocals from the guy that sings for this band. Counting the Days, Wraith, Peacemaker, Dying Will Be the Death of Me. It just, yeah, it's just such a dark album. So, and Cephalic is known for being like silly. You know, they have their silly songs like PGAD, Persistent Genital Arousal Disorder, and a friend of mine, and they're known for being a funny band and having like South Park clips in their songs or whatever. But this is just dark. It just reminds me of death, and it was just the perfect album for me to talk about for being the soundtrack for the apocalypse, because this would absolutely be my soundtrack for the end of the world.
Kill for Weed.
And Kill for Weed. And there you go. from the Cypress Hill enthusiast and the show.
Shout out to the lady at the dispensary that gave me this hat for free. It was like a 420 gift. So yeah.
Nice hat.
Dude, tell people there's going to be free hats and they will show up.
Yeah, dude. Free hat.
Dude, what the fuck? I only made like 3 paper hats.
Pat McCullough. Yeah.
We'll talk about that creep later. All right. Let me get through mine real quick because my pick is a little controversial. This band kind of has some issues. We'll get too deep into it. I knew about this band before all that shit, and they were actually pretty nice to me. A couple of them were. I'm talking about Vector, Outer Isolation. I got a signed copy by everybody. Let's see, right here is Frank, and right here is Blake. These are the 2 guys that I was really tight with. Eric, the other guitarist, was really awesome. This guy's kind of a douchebag, not to me, but to someone else. I'm not going to go into that shit so much. This album was really fucking cool. It's a very it's like sci-fi death metal. I don't remember how. Travis Ryan told me that I'm a poser for listening to Ghosts and I should listen to real shit like Vector. So I went and checked this band out, and I told Travis that story because I came back to him telling him how awesome this record was, and he laughed. He's like, "Dude, I'm sorry." I was like, "No, you talk shit about everything I listen to, so fuck you." But he was right about this band. This was a really cool recommendation by Travis. Cosmic Cortex, like a 10-minute song. It's incredible intro track. Echoless Chambers, Dying World, Tetrastructural Minds, Venus Project, Dark Creation, Dead Creations, Fast Paced Society, and Outer Isolation. I have the first pressing Green. This came out in 2011. I think the vinyl came out in 2012 on Earache Records. This, like I said, this band kind of the singer at least kind of was a hot topic on the internet because he just did some shady shit to his now ex-wife, and there's video of it. So people kind of like canceled this band. I know that they still put out albums. I don't know what label. I just kind of stopped following them after my friends Blake and Frank left the band. But this was a really cool fucking record. It's very, I don't know how to describe it. It's super fast paced death metal. It's very, very technical at times, a little proggy at times. The vocals are like super high pitched screechy, so that might kill it for a lot of people. That's the one thing. The vocalist, the said asshole of the band, he's got these vocals that are hard for people to get into. I remember really enjoying this record. I played it a couple months ago because I was like, I've listened to this since all that shit went down. But yeah, this was this album sounds like the fucking apocalypse. That's why I picked it. Yeah, so there you go. That's our James Watson's Tombstone themed episode. None of us came dressed like any of the characters. If I were to, I'd probably come dressed as Kurt Russell because he fucking rules. Jeff, did you get any new records this week?
I got some new records. Since the last time we did this show by ourselves. One of the coolest finds that I found from my good friends at Hit Records in Columbia April 11th. April 11th, actually, the day before Record Store Day, I went in to kind of, see what they had, pull my connections and see what's going on. I found while digging through the crates, while digging through the inventory, a 1995 copy of Green Day Insomniac. I have seen this repressed. This got repressed in like 2019 or some shit. Seen it multiple times, never gave it a second thought. I like this album. I bought it the day it came out in 95, whenever it came out. But I didn't really care for the represses because it was just like, I don't care. This is an original pressing, and I snatched it up immediately. Beyond stoked to have a copy of this. I don't know if it'll ever get played. I don't know if it's just going to stay in the wrap, and I just enjoy the fact that I own an OG press of Insomniac. But there we go. The next one that I will talk about is the new album from the Melvins. This is from their 1983 lineup, which does not feature Dale Crover, which is fine with me. It is, I forget what the lineup is exactly, but their other album that they did from the 1983 lineup was, I forget. I can't even remember what the other album was from that time frame or from that lineup. But this is a mustard gas pressing. This is the more limited of the pressings for this album. I believe it was this and a black, just a standard black, and I haven't acquired the standard black one yet, but I will. Up next, speaking of, hold on one second. Speaking of,
you got 1 second.
Actors from the movie Tombstone. For Record Store Day this year, one of the only album that I really cared about, the only album that I really had to have from Record Store Day, was a movie from 1984. One of my favorite movies growing up, Top Secret. This movie was, of course, done by the same people who did Airplane. The caption at the bottom says, "From the makers of the original Airplane, not the Wright brothers." It's absolute slapstick. The entire movie is just funny, and that's what stuck with me as a kid, was just how funny this movie was. A lot of for those of you who know the movie, they did different scenes and stills and stuff from the movie. I watch this every time I get the opportunity. It's not on TV very much. It's not on TV very often, but every chance I get an opportunity to, I do watch. This was pressed on a Top Secret clear. That's very clear, very, very clear. With such songs as Skeet Surfing, which it makes me laugh just thinking about it. Are You Lonesome Tonight? How Silly Can You Get? Absolutely phenomenal movie. I'm stoked that I found a copy of this. I did a lot of scouring. I did a lot of research to see which of the 8 or 10 record stores in my area had it, and I found 2 out of my possible options that had that. And I traveled an hour and a half to wait in line at 2 a.m. to get a copy of that album. Stoked I got it. On Record Store Day, whenever I got through the line initially, I was like, I'm not done yet. I want to go back and look through the store, and which caused me to be in the store for another hour and a half waiting for everybody else that was there for Record Store Day to get through the line before I could go through. And I figured, while I'm here, I'm just going to go ahead and buy something. So I bought a previous Record Store Day from Black Friday, the Black Sunday 2023 remixes. This thing was $20, and I thought, fuck yeah, I want to buy a 2023 remix of Black Sunday. And it's only 2 songs. It's Insane in the Brain and Hits from the Bong. 1 song on each side, but it's a Cypress Hill album, or a Cypress Hill single. My co-host here is a big Cypress Hill fan. I'm a moderate, fair weather Cypress Hill fan. The last 2 that I'm going to talk about, save these 2 for last because I know that Nick also has these same ones, so I'll kind of do these at the same time. The first one is a gift from a very good friend of ours in the band. Once again, shout out to Pig Destroyer. Once again, shout out to Alex Chaw. Got a sleeve that was limited to 50 on the for the Terrifier release. They released these at the Decibel Metal and Beer Fest a couple of weeks back, and even though I did not make it, I got a copy of that because I love Chaw because he's awesome. And last but not least, this showed up today. It has not come out of the wrap yet. I have not gotten to listen to it. I have not gotten to see what it looks like. Hopefully my co-host has, so he can show me what it looks like. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, I don't even know what year this was, 1974? I forget what year this came out. Hold on, I've got a 50th anniversary poster behind me from, I don't even know. But anyway, original Texas Chainsaw Massacre pressing by Waxworks. This was a Texas Summer hand poured colored vinyl. The original 1974 score, original 1974 score by Toby Hooper and Wayne Bell. Available for the first time in any format. Sourced from the original master tapes. Awesome horror movie. One of my absolute most favorite horror movies of all time, as well as Nick's. And yeah, I think I might open this up while you take your turn to talk about new records.
Alrighty. Okay, so I'll start with a record store day record that Mr. Grindstopher there stood up at 2 a.m. just for me to get. Deicide, Once Upon the Cross, one of the best death metal albums of all time. This is like I don't know what color they call this. It's somewhere here on the sleeve. This is the metallic white and red and blue Autobots pressing. Look at that shit. That's pretty fucking awesome looking, actually.
That is awesome.
There's only a label on one side, though. I'm just noticing that. Yeah. Why is that? There's no label on this side.
That's weird. Is there audio on that side?
Yeah.
You would assume there is. Huh.
Yeah, there absolutely is.
You got a rare one.
Maybe somebody fucked up with quality control at the pressing plant. Regardless, this is one of my favorite death metal albums. I got not an OG pressing, but an earlier pressing of it, and then this came out. Then when they announced this a few weeks later, I was like, motherfucker, but whatever. Next, another record store day pressing, Mr. Peter Tosh, reggae legend. This is his greatest hits album. It came, damn. This came out on Jamaican color flag vinyl. Really nice looking. Peter Tosh, fucking the motherfucking man. When I was working at Tower Records, there was this guy there named Jabal who claimed he was from Jamaica. I don't think he was, but we used to walk over to the reggae section and talk about stuff, and he would always recommend Peter Tosh. So I checked him out one day, and he's fucking amazing. Great songwriter, great musician. He was murdered on September 11th, 1987. A couple men walked into his house, asked him for money. He said he didn't have any, and then they just shot him. It's a fucking shame. The guy was fucking awesome. I would say if Bob Marley is the Metallica of reggae, this guy would be the Slayer of reggae. Not saying his music is all satanic or anything, but like he would be like the number 2 reggae artist of all time, in my opinion. Great fucking record. Happy to have this. It's a repress because it originally came out very long ago. All right, these next couple ones are all the same band, but Relapse Records is kind of on fire this year. They're re-releasing a bunch of like old albums that they pressed over the years. The Soylent Green collection. This is Stone Mouse Secrets on 3 merge colors, 3 merge splatter out of 200 pressed. Really cool stuff. I have an OG pressing of this, but when you bought the OG pressing, it came with the String of Lies 7-inch. I don't have the OG of that, but I did buy when they repressed everything. They repressed it and it came with a half and half splatter like that. That looks fucking rad as shit. Stoked to have that. Let's see here. Yeah, you have to sit through this. Sorry. This was a great album. It was Just an Accident, So Hatred, Build Fear. I love that track. Looking Through the Nails, Greed and Weakness, Cold Steel Kiss. What else is on here? Her Unsober Ways, So Mouse Secrets, Gag Tour, Emptiness Found, Sticks and Stones. Soylent Green is such a great fucking band. If you don't know, it features Mr. Ben Falgust of Goat Whore fame, Brian Patton, who used to be in I Hate God, and Tommy. I can't remember Tommy's last name. He plays drums for Crowbar. Next album from Soylent Green, Deleted Symphony of the Beaten Down. I have the actual first pressing, clear pressing of this on vinyl. This one looks kind of cool. It's a little clear with rainbow colors in it. I don't know what they dubbed this one. Custom marble, limited to 200. Yeah, limited to 200 copies. And then they also released The Confrontation. This album came out shortly after Hurricane Katrina had hit New Orleans. I remember seeing this band on Super Bowl Sunday at the Auto Bar with Misery Index and hanging out listening to Cypress Hill backstage with a couple of these guys, and they were telling me their experiences about what it was like with Hurricane Katrina fucking them. This is kind of like a pinwheel splatter. This is probably the coolest one that I got. One of them was telling me about the worst thing that happened to him after Hurricane Katrina was in his. I guess they had like roofers working on in their apartments, like fixing everything. And some guy went into his apartment and stole one of his guns, and he had to call the cops and register it. So that was like the worst thing that happened to him. Shout out to Soylent Green, fucking great band. Next, another record store day release, Rage Against the Machine, live in 1993. First tracks from Washington D.C. I remember having a single for maybe Bomb Track that had that on there, that live track of it. This comes with the cool etching. Yeah, there you go. Rage Against the Machine, one of the cooler fucking bands of my youth. Come on. I love when records like to be so difficult going back in the sleeve. Let's see here. Bomb Track, Killing in the Name from Washington D.C. Killing in the Name from Orlando. Take the Power Back from Atlanta. Settle for Nothing from Gainesville. Bullet in the Head from Paris. Know Your Enemy from Toronto, and Wake Up from Philadelphia. These were all recorded in the first 3 months of 1993. Some of these were in February. Most of them were in March. Yeah. Rage Against the fucking Machine. What a band, right, Jeff?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Agreed.
Oh, fuck you. You're getting put back in later. All right. Same as Jeff. Terrifier, Blood Splatter. I found some random record to throw sleeve onto it. But some clown hit me up asking if I would sell it to him. I think it was the same guy that hit Jeff up asking for it. Like literally right as we put it on Discogs. Like, you're gonna be one of those people. 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying. People are probably laughing that I have this record. I thought this was a fucking cool album when it came out. A lot of people used to diss this guy for some weird reason. I thought he was a great rapper. This album in particular, I thought was good. I didn't really follow much after this. I know he had like G Unit and a bunch of other stuff, but this record was cool as fuck. Has some really cool tracks. PIMP, that's a really cool one. I like the first song, What Up Gangsta. That's a really cool one. Anyways, yeah, In the Club, that was probably his first huge hit. This album was produced by Dr. Dre and Eminem. They put this guy on, and he became huge. Like, I was told back in 2005 that if he retired, he could survive off just the money he was making from ringtones, from the coin from his ringtones. So, yeah, shout out to 50 Cent, fucking incredible hip hop artist. I'm not a huge fan, but absolutely adore that. I do like that album. Last thing, I guess because Jeff got his all late because Waxworks took their time. Texas Chainsaw Massacre original score. I love this fucking when you open the gatefold. That shit's
fun. Yeah.
I will share you with what it looks like. It's like this fire. Oh, look at her eye. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Yeah.
Sally's eye, dude. Yeah, that's very well
movie, to those of you who have never watched this movie or have only seen like the remakes, let me tell you something. Like, There was this vibe that like this movie when it came out, and I wasn't born yet. My father and sister actually told me about this when I was in maybe like the fourth or fifth grade. But this movie was like made to think that this really happened. Like it was a documentary of like this is the footage that was found of these people, and like I can't imagine if this was a real situation, the most fucked up of like scenarios of like getting thrown on a meat hook, all all the shit. That scene, this part right here, this was a fucked up scene. Like
Yeah.
every time I watch this scene, I cringe. Um, Great fucking movie. I'm happy to have this. Shout out to Waxworks. Fuck you for taking your time and bringing Jeff his vinyl, but this was a cool one, a nice one to add into my scores and soundtracks because this is one of my favorite horror movies. This is a good movie. This is a really, I mean, like when I was a kid, I was legit scared of this fucking film. It's just the thought.
I
The thought.
watched it, dude. I watched it last week. I was legit scared of it, dude. Fuck, just every time it's terrifying.
No, I'll do that later. Yeah,
But
that's
yeah, I opened mine up while you were doing your thing, and dude, one of the coolest things is inside the book. It's got like the production schedule.
yeah.
Like that's awesome, dude. That is just the little extra shit that they put in this is awesome.
No, Waxworks definitely like goes all out and like when they repackage shit. Like I've showed it a couple times when I've talked about the Thing score, but like that like artwork of them all standing there looking at like the crash down UFOs, like one of my favorite things ever. Like
Right.
I wish I had that like framed up on my wall or something because like yeah.
What a movie. What a movie. Oh, and what a skateboard.
Yeah, there.
Because they are awesome. Yeah, this is going to be hung up like back here where the Dillinger, the Ironies of Dead Scene is most likely going to come down, and this is going to go in its place because Nick is awesome. My co-host is an awesome friend, an awesome co-host. Had these made. All right, that's enough. It's enough bragging on Nick if he's gonna he's gonna sailboat. But man, what an awesome gift! What an awesome gift! The funny thing about this is that whenever I come home to this being on my table, my mom pulled up in front of the house at the same time I did, so we both come into my house at the same time. And I always got skateboards as a kid, like growing up. Whenever I was 10, 11, 12, that was always my Christmas gift was a skateboard. And whenever I opened it up, like she was talking to my wife about who knows whatever women talk about. I don't pay attention. I don't pay attention to what they talk about. But she said whenever I opened this up and realized what it was, she said I sounded exactly like I did on Christmas morning when I was 12. Whenever I found out I was getting a skateboard for Christmas, she's like, "Oh my, you sound just like you did back then." So, thank you, Nick, tremendously for this.
Cheers, buddy. Oh yeah.
Awesome gift.
Well, thank you to everybody for tuning in again for another week. We appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, y'all are awesome. Awesome audience, awesome followers. Thank you.
In the comments, add if you know any albums with coffins on them that are death metal and not the Misfits or what were the other things that he said? I don't know. But you know stuff. Exhumed. He did say that. Yeah. Well, I said me and Jeff are posers. We don't own everything. So, thank you again, everybody. You all have a good week.
Yep. See you guys.
Final thing,